Okay, here we go. Welcome to the first ever hot sheet on BAM, the only place to get your real estate news and information in your industry. This show, just like if you've been an agent or an appraiser or somebody who is in the real estate industry and you have access to the MLS, just like when you go onto your hot sheet every single day on the MLS, this show is that for the industry. We will go live every single Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So if you're on the East Coast, you're going to be able to check this out either live or after the fact, because it will still continue to be up in the live tab of our YouTube. Or if you're on the West Coast, maybe 6:30 is when you're driving into the office or when you're going to the gym and working out, you're going to be able to listen to the hot sheet and get your information for the day in a short, condensed format, just like the hot sheet on your MLS. I know the best agents and best real estate professionals spend 15, 20 minutes a day digging into the hot sheet. Every single time I talk to somebody who's an expert in their marketplace, it's because they spend a lot of time on their hot sheet. And this show is going to be that for the industry. Those bite-sized pieces of content. Of course, on all our other BAM shows, we're going to be able to go deeper on all of these topics. But everything you need to know, from what is the breaking news in the industry, where's the 30-year fixed mortgage at, where's the 10-year at, we're going to give you all of that right here on this show every single morning to set up your day. All right. We're also going to take this recording and put it onto podcast, Spotify or Apple. So if you want to listen to it, maybe during lunch or on your drive to appointments in the afternoon and catch up later in the day, you'll be able to do that. And obviously you'll still be able to do that here on the live tab on YouTube. So hit the thumbs up if you're with me on this first ever live edition of the hot sheet. And let's jump right into our first topic of the day. We have the Uhaul Growth Index report that just came out, as well as the North American Moving Services. I'm going to break down what that means for you. We may go deeper on a later piece of BAM content during the week. But as these indexes, as these reports come out week to week, especially this year in 2023, as the economy is shifting, as we're going through some times that are very volatile, we're going to give these reports to you each and every single time. So let's start with actually a real estate news article. They summarize this beautifully, I thought. And they talk about this Uhaul Growth Index report. Okay, so they found that, once again, and if you're in one of these states, let me know in the comments, that Texas and Florida are among the top two destinations for one-way truck customers in 2022. It's the second year in a row they snagged the top spots. The Carolinas came in at number 3 and 4. So both Carolinas respectively moving up in the ranks from the previous year, while Virginia rounded out the top 5. Movers continued to leave areas of the West Coast, the Northeast, and the Midwest, with California and Illinois at the bottom of the growth index for the third year in a row. Listen, I know California agents, a lot of passion. This is just me giving the data. It's not even my data. This is Uhaul data, and I love California. I can't wait to be out there later this year. So no opinion here, just giving you the data. We still have areas with strong demand for one-way rentals, while overall migration in 2021, of course, was record-breaking. We continue to experience significant customer demand to move out of some geographic areas to destinations at the top of our growth list. Okay, so this is JT Taylor, Uhaul president, in this January 3rd news release. Okay, now there's also this North American Moving Services, which you can go to. I'll show it to you here. We'll link it up. We'll always link up all of our show notes so that you have access to them. But you'll be able to go to this North American map and really get a good picture of what's happening. This is a different study than the Uhaul study. This is 2022, NorthAmerican.com. Is where you would find this, but we'll link it up below to make it easy for you. So where did Americans move in 2022? And their report came in right on point with the Uhaul report, right? You see The high outbound states being California and the Northeast, like they mentioned, Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York, while the Carolinas, Florida, Texas, amongst others, were some of these high inbound states. Top inbound states, according to this NorthAmerican.com report, was North American Moving Services, rather, excuse me. Top inbound states was South Carolina. North Carolina was 1 and 2. There were 3 and 4 in the Uhaul study. Tennessee, Arizona, and Florida rounding at the top 5. Top outbound states in 2022: Illinois, California, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. If you're in one of these states, if you serve one of these states as a real estate professional, whether it be as an agent, a broker, a team leader, or maybe an appraiser or a lender, let me know in the comments your thoughts on these reports. Are you are these reports, these indexes, a trend in your market? Are you experiencing that to be true in your market? Okay. When we just go back to the U-Haul one quickly, I thought one of the interesting stats was in the U-Haul Growth Index report, the total number of do-it-yourself moves. So somebody getting a U-Haul and just saying, I'm going one way. The total number of do-it-yourself moves slowed slightly in most states after a record break in 2021. Makes sense. We had less home sales in 2022. So, of course, in 2021, you would anticipate there's less one-way do-it-yourself U-Haul moves. The company used data from its 23,000 truck and trailer sharing locations. Okay. If you're interested in more on that, there's a whole bunch of further information in the U-Haul study, as well as the North American Moving Services 2022 Moving Migration Report. We'll link both of those below so you can get access to them. And if you're really passionate about either topic and you want us to go deeper on any one of our shows, whether it's the Real Word podcast, which is every single Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, or on the walkthrough on Thursdays, let us know and we will go a little bit deeper. I want to talk in topic number 2 here about last week's jobs report. It came in really strong. Tom Toole and I referenced this on Knowledge Brokers podcast, which is a new BAM show along with this show, and it will be up every single Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We talked about this jobs report. We talked about the Wall Street Journal reporting on great numbers in January, 223,000 new jobs, slightly down from November. Okay. Now, what I thought was interesting, though, today in the Wall Street Journal, the retiring Chicago Fed president, okay, he sees a path for a slower pace of rate hikes. One of the indicators for him is this great jobs report that we had in December, and that jobs continue to be incredibly strong. Mr. Evans, who is retiring but has been the Chicago Fed president, also said that he reflected on his tenure, but he thinks the way the Fed, Jerome Powell, led the committee where we got into the end of this year, we got off to a later start than we caught up very quickly with 475 basis point increases, excuse me. And so I think that positioned us well by year's end to have a somewhat restrictive setting of federal funds rate. Definitely market pricing financial rates has been restrictive, certainly cyclical sensitive industries, housing, mortgage rates very quickly went to a restrictive level, even before, just on the basis of everybody's expectations of what the Fed was actually going to do. Okay. He believes that despite what the Fed has said they are going to do, despite what they have already done, that we are now in a place where we can go from, a half rate increase to 0.75 point increases on the federal interest rate, that we could theoretically get down to a scenario where we're more normal 0.25% Fed interest rates. There's a lot of people that would disagree with the retiring Chicago Fed president, Charles Evans. He's stepping down after leading the regional bank for 15 years, by the way. And a lot of people would disagree with him. I think even Jerome Powell, with what he said, would disagree. He has said for the last 6 months that housing is in the crosshairs. He's also said that no matter what it takes, even if it takes disrupting this job market, we are going to get inflation back to 2%. We're still at 7%. So we don't want to get ahead of ourselves on all of this good news that we've experienced in October, November, and December as it relates to the CPI and as it relates to these job reports. It's astonishing that the job market has continued to be so strong. We're at 3.5% unemployment, right? We've never seen that as we head into what people would consider an economic recession. We haven't seen those two things. And that's where many folks have been hesitant to say, okay, well, we're not going into a recession because of these jobs reports. So a lot of people would disagree, but this is the Chicago Fed president and his opinion. He thinks we're at a place now where we can get to a 0.25% federal interest rate increase, which would slow down potentially these mortgage rate increases, which typically will follow the 10-year. And we saw a little drop last week, but that's where we're at on that. All right, let's go to topic number 3 here. Compass, okay, you can't have a first hot sheet without a little bit of Compass news. They made news last week with their third round of layoffs. And then Inman is reporting that Compass seeks to sublease New York City headquarters in belt tightening play. Okay, so the New York based brokerage is shopping around 89,000 square feet of office space at 95th Ave in Manhattan as it looks for ways to stem its losses, which clocked in at 154 million in Q3 of 2022. To me, this makes complete sense. The majority, they had the third round of layoffs. The majority of their layoffs haven't been positions that directly impact agents. That's according to Compass. Okay, so you would then think that a lot of these layoffs are around, middle managers and maybe some of that, those technology departments or, people that might be sitting in HQ in New York City. This follows a huge trend, by the way, for other companies. Twitter is one of those companies that there's been reports that Twitter's just not paying their rent in San Francisco. They're not paying their lease in San Francisco at all. And they're just going to say, okay, maybe take us to court, whatever. We'll figure this out down the road, but we're not going to pay this lease. Obviously, Elon Musk is a new owner of Twitter, and they're now private. And so who knows what happens there? But this isn't just Compass. This isn't just a real estate problem. This is a problem for commercial landlords. Some of these investors who have bought up some of these office skyscrapers, and it's all seemingly going to come crashing down. I want to reference a CNBC article. Again, we'll put all this in the show notes. How San Francisco can tackle two of its biggest issues: office vacancies and housing. San Francisco is facing its highest vacancy rate since 1993. Commercial, this is a CBRE stat. They said in a recent report, 27.1 million square feet of a total 90 million square feet in San Francisco is currently vacant. That's insane. That's crazy numbers. That's 26% of the office space in San Francisco. Now, San Francisco, Silicon Valley has obviously seen huge layoffs in Q3 and Q4 of 2022. Tech has been in a recession for over half a year, much like real estate has been in a recession for half a year. So you've seen layoffs in both of those industries, and it's impacting, obviously, with tech. Most tech companies are headquartered in San Francisco. It's impacting that, San Francisco market more than other markets. And there's amongst other issues in San Francisco, right? That downtown area where you see a lot of those skyscrapers in San Francisco, which just 2-3 years ago, they were talking about this on the All In podcast recently, just 2 or 3 years ago, that was the hottest commercial real estate market in the entire country for commercial office space. And now 2-3 years later, okay, we had COVID and a lot of people just locked in, and maybe the government was paying their leases or what have you. They locked in, and now fast forward to today, and it's all crashing down. They have 26% in that city vacancies in these commercial skyscrapers, and it's expected to increase in 2023. What other areas is New York City going to experience? Obviously, Compass, on a much smaller scale, is trying to sublease 89,000 square feet. Okay, in New York City. Is New York City or other cities going to experience a similar impact like San Francisco is experiencing with their commercial skyscraper space, commercial, rather, office space in these skyscrapers. A lot of people are working from home or remotely. And so it all makes sense right now with where we're at. Remains to be seen. And if, listen, if you're in Compass headquarters rather, maybe you have some more context. If you're somebody who's in Compass leadership and you're coming across the hot sheet, feel free, leave us a comment. Love to know more than what was just reported on The Real Deal and on Inman. Okay. Every week or every day rather, because it's a Monday through Friday show. This is a new show, and we're going to do this every single day live at 9:30. It's a live show. So while you're watching, please don't be afraid to hit the share button and make sure that you are subscribed to BAM YouTube so you don't miss any of these updates. Every single show we'll wrap up with just a quick summary of where we're at. You see in the ticker below, but we're going to give you the Compass stock as we open the market every single day. We're going to give you the Redfin. We're going to give you Anywhere Real Estate. And we're going to give you Zillow. So we're going to give you some of these bigger names. In the comments, if you think we're missing something in the ticker, we also have the 10-year and the 30-year mortgage. As we wrap up the show, I'm also going to mention the 10-year. I love the quote from Ivy Zellman. I've said it so many times on content. Ivy Zellman, who's one of the great data analysts in real estate. She says, if I was going to list my home, and listen, anybody that wants to get into the luxury market, these are the conversations that you're going to be having. So if you want to get a pay raise in 2023 and you're going up in price point in your market into a luxury homeowner, you might have conversations like this. She said that if a listing agent ever came into my home and couldn't articulate to me the 10-year treasury, where it sits on any given day, I would throw them out of my house. Okay. Because listen, she knows, and we know as real estate professionals, that the 10-year has a direct impact on the 30-year fixed mortgage rates. Okay. So we're going to give you where the 10-year is at the end of every single hot sheet. Just like when you're looking on the MLS, how many homes have expired? How many new listings are there? Okay. What's the inventory like in my market? We're going to give you those hot little nuggets, the 10-year and the 30-year fix. So you can walk away at the end of the show knowing, okay, this is where the 10-year is. This is where the 30-year fix is. Just last week, if you were following the 10-year, when it had a little drop, that little drop is right. You can see it right here. Okay. Was the slight drop last week. We saw interest rates on the 30-year fixed go from 6.5 down to 6.2. There were some lenders that said, hey, with great credit, and in your market better than I do with the lender that you're working with, and some people could even get into the high fives. That was at the end of last week. The week before, not so much. All right. So the 10-year treasury right now, it's up just a tick on the open this morning. It is at 3.573%. And as we go over to the 30-year fix, we're going to be using Mortgage News Daily. Okay. So just so we're clear, we're going to use this every single day in the ticker and on this end of the show where we just kind of give you where we're at. The 30-year mortgage rate. Okay. Average across the country. It's different. Listen, let's be clear. Disclaimer. And we know this as professionals. It's different for each individual where they're going to come in on their rate based on how much money they're putting down, what their credit score is, all of those personal variables. So this page provides average 30-year fixed mortgage rates from several different surveys, including Mortgage News Daily, Freddie Mac's weekly survey, and MBA Mortgage Bankers Association weekly survey, and FHFA monthly survey. Okay. So where we're at today remains to be seen. As we get into the day, it will change, but we're coming into the day at 6.2%. Okay. So that's the average. Last week, it was 6.5, 6.54, 6.45, 6.41, 6.5. As we saw that good 10-year, the good jobs report last week, and the 10-year dropped, we also saw the 30-year fixed mortgage rate drop as well. Okay. So there you go on your 30-year fixed and your 10-year treasury. Be looking out today on BAM. Okay. Go to brokeagentmedia.com for an article on top prospecting tips. There are 11 prospecting tips in this article that you can put into your business today. Also, be looking on the Overask podcast, which will be up later today, for Sarah Desamore. Sarah is in Miami. She is bilingual. She's a social media machine. She is crushing it working with celeb clients down in Miami. So if you're one of those agents who wants to get a pay raise in 2023 by elevating into the luxury market, make sure you go onto the Overask podcast today with Sarah and obviously Eric and Matt interviewing her. And then be on the lookout for some huge announcements today. BAM creator announcements. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. So make sure you're on the IG. Make sure you're following along, because there is going to be an enormous announcement later today, which is going to impact all of what BAM does in Q1, how we deliver the best content in the entire industry. There's one media company that's doing it all. That's this one right here in this industry. That's doing it all, meaning clips and podcasts and daily shows and live streams and debates and actually cold calls, because we've got licensed agents, right? Thumbs up if you love that cold call one. We've got one of those coming up again next week. This is the one place where we're doing it all, giving everybody that is a supporter of BAM in this industry exactly what they want. So be on the lookout for that BAM creator announcement. It is going to change the game in Q1. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this first episode of the Hot Sheet. Again, later today, you'll be able to get it on Apple and Spotify. This is the first day, so it's going to be a few hour delay there. But every single day after this episode, if you missed it on YouTube, you can go get it on the audio version, or just share the YouTube link. It's always going to be under the live tab on @NowBAM YouTube. Okay, so if you're searching on YouTube, go to @NowBAM, go to the live tab, and this show will always be in here. Share this with somebody, an agent, a real estate professional, your insurance agent who does homeowners, your attorney, a lender in your community, and say, hey, you want to get more educated on the industry? You want the hot sheet that you have for our local MLS for the industry? Here it is. It's this show. It's only on BAM. And we'll see you guys tomorrow live at 9:30 a.m. Appreciate you.